The danger of the single story. Yesterday, I went out with a cohort of senior business leaders on a local immersion into Soweto and Alexandra. We met business people and social entrepreneurs. We met people who are building, solving, creating, and refusing to surrender to the story that has been told about their communities. It was truly inspiring, but it was also deeply instructive. At the end of the immersion, a number of the leaders reflected on how much of their view of townships had been shaped by mainstream media. A narrative of crime, poverty, violence, unemployment, brokenness, and social decay. To be sure, those realities exist, and we must never romanticize suffering. But here's the thing, that is not the whole story. A township can carry pain and possibility at the same time. A place can have broken infrastructure and still produce remarkable enterprise. A community can be wounded and still be wise. A street can carry the memory of struggle and still host the next great business idea. A young person can grow up surrounded by difficulty and still possess extraordinary genius. The danger is not that the media shows us the wound, but rather that we make the wound to denote the whole body. This is how narratives work. They do not need to be completely false to be dangerous. Sometimes the most dangerous narratives are built from real facts that have been arranged into an incomplete story. One part is selected, another part is ignored, one image is repeated, another image is never shown. Before long, the mind starts to believe that the part is the whole, and once that happens, we stop seeing people. We see categories. We stop seeing texture. We see headlines. We stop seeing possibility. We see problems. This is one of the traps I write about in my latest book, The Confidence Trap. The loudest story often wins, not because it is the truest, but because it is the most repeated, the most dramatic, the most emotionally charged, and the easiest to believe. The confident narrative beats the complex truth. And this does not only happen with townships, it also happens with organizations, with leaders, with communities, with countries. I found myself thinking about how the proceedings at the Madlanga Commission had begun to reshape my own emotional narrative about South Africa. Again, let us be clear, the issues being ventilated there are serious. They must not be dismissed. We need accountability, receipts, and consequence. We need the truth to be followed wherever it leads. But I had to remind myself of something important. That too is not the whole story of South Africa. It is a window, and not the whole house. South Africa is not only corruption or dysfunction, or only crime. It is not only decay. South Africa is also the entrepreneur in Soweto, who wakes up every morning to build something from little. The social innovator in Alexandra creating dignity where systems have failed. The teacher who still shows up. The nurse who still serves. The grandmother who still holds a household together. The young person who still dreams. The small business owner who still employs people. The community leader who still repairs what others have abandoned. These people rarely become the headline. But they're also South Africa. And this is my caution. The reason for this video. Be careful of any headline that asks you to conclude before you have examined. Be careful of any voice that shows you one part of reality and then demands that you treat it as the whole. Because incomplete stories can make us confidently wrong, cynical before we have been honest, fearful before we have understood. They can make us dismiss places we have not entered, people we have not listened to, and possibilities we have not allowed ourselves to see. The answer is not to deny the negative, but rather to refuse the single story. Yes, there is crime, and there is courage. Yes, there is poverty, and there is enterprise. Yes, there is brokenness, and there is brilliance. Yes, there are reasons to worry about South Africa, and there are still reasons to believe in South Africa. A mature mind must learn to hold both. Because when we allow incomplete stories to become complete narratives, we do not only misread places, we misjudge people and misdiagnose our country. And sometimes we lose hope in a future that is still being built quietly by people who never make the news. My name is Vezi. I am the author of The Confidence Trap. In this book, I explore how we can create a society where truth matters over theatre. For more, visit the link on the description.